What's going on, everybody? This is Nick Lawson from Squad Sports. We're really excited to be supporting the Free Agent Friday series. A lot of great talent out there. Without further ado, this is the next free agent you should be signing with your sports team.
All right, we're back for another Free Agent Friday, and today I've got Kevin McIntyre with me. How's it going, Kevin?
Good. How you doing, Andrew?
Pretty good. It's finally sunny. It's been storming here, like some tropical storm in Virginia. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, I think we're getting it this afternoon up in Boston. So, yep.
Yeah. So hopefully it won't be too long. But let's jump right in. Tell us about where you went to school and any degrees that you received.
Yep. I've got a BA in economics from Villanova. So I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Stayed local, wanted to play football, also wanted to go to a good school, and Villanova was bringing back football when I was there. Yeah, BA in economics from Villanova.
Nice. And you played football while you were there?
Yeah, I played football, 1AA. It's still 1AA.
Yep.
They've actually looked at going 1A, but I think made the smart move. There's still 1AA. They brought it back in 85. So Howie Long's senior year, they dropped it. So Howie Long from the Raiders went to Villanova. And then they dropped it in 80 and then brought it back in 85 as a 1AA program. So we play Richmond and, Rhode Island, and Delaware is our big rival, the Blue Hens.
Well, when I lived in the King of Prussia area after I got out of school, and I would always go through there. I think I was like the main line or whatever, Route 30.
Yep.
And I would see the guys practicing right there off of the road.
Yep.
So
and it's literally the practice is across the road. If it was a grass game, we'd practice on the grass across the road. And if it was a turf game, like if it was a home game, we'd practice on the turf field.
At what point did you decide like you wanted to work in the sports side of things?
Great question. I've always been in sales, but when I got out of Villanova, I didn't get into advertising or sponsorship or sports. I was in a different sales business, but had always loved sports, just like anybody, watched sports, knew a lot about sports, and said, you know what, that would be a good business to get into. And I knew what was happening in my industry. And I said, you know what, I'm still young. I was, probably late 20s. And I said, you know what, I still have the opportunity to make the move. So let me just canvas my network and see who I know. And I just, started reaching out to people, reaching out to friends of brothers and sisters. And I've got a big family, so I got a big network. I got 70 cousins. So just reaching out to 70 cousins. My mom is one of 11. So
that's a big family reunion.
That's why we don't do them every year. We do them every 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
But it gets pretty crazy. So just reaching out to everybody I knew and just started talking to people. And I was lucky enough to be able to get an interview at ESPN. And they said, you know what, love your background, love your entrepreneurial spirit. You obviously can sell, but you don't know this business. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it wasn't the right time for me to come into that business because it was during the upfront season, which is the most busy time for networks. So it's that late spring time. And they said, you know what, just stay in touch with us. And that's what I did. I just stayed in touch. And I think that's one of the things that's important is just, don't give up, right? You just got to stay in touch and think of other reasons to stay connected. And so I did. And then they said, you know what, we have an opportunity 6 months later. And they called me back and I got an opportunity to start there in September of '99. That was my first job in sports and advertising, working with ESPN, ABC Sports Customer Marketing and Sales as a sales planner. Basically, that's the person that creates the sales plans in the system that the account executive has said, hey, put this together. We want to do something with J&J for $500,000 in first and second quarter on ESPN, ESPN2, put together a plan. So literally it was a TV ad sales planner. That was my first gig. And it was a great way to start in the business because ESPN did everything and kind of still does everything, right? So they're TV and digital and magazine and events, the X Games and all those kind of things. So it was a great place to kind of learn the sports business from an advertising perspective.
Walk us through kind of your your stops over the last 10 or 15 years after ESPN?
Yep. Yeah, I would say I left ESPN to go to IMG, had a cup of coffee there because if people are old enough to know, Ted Forsman bought the business. This is back in the mid 2000s, and then everything changed. And so like I said, I had a cup of coffee at IMG, and then was able to actually meet a guy through my next company who started a sports marketing agency. A guy named Ben Sterner started Leverage Agency. And he had started it at the end of 2005, and that's when I met him. And he said, "Hey, I've got one employee, a PR head, but I want to do a sponsorship sales arm, and I'd love for you to come and start with me." So I started with him in February of 2006. 3 employees, basically, or 2 employees, basically Ben, and then the head of PR, Randy, and myself in sales, and just hitting the phones and talking to people and representing the National Lacrosse League, indoor lacrosse. We were just talking about Philly sports, the Wings, but representing the league from a national basis. We got them to go to national television for the first time, representing the EVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour, and a host of other smaller events, national events, but on the smaller sports scale. And became successful with those sports, brought in Dodge to the National Lacrosse League and Progressive Insurance, the first national sponsors they ever had, and then a host of sponsors with the Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. And they got an opportunity to work in NASCAR at Leverage with P&G and Gillette. They created this thing called the Gillette Young Guns. So they had 6 drivers, and they were basically promoting their razors through NASCAR. It was the first time they were into NASCAR. And they said, "We have these 6 athletes, these 6 race car drivers, but we want it to come alive." And this is like the later 2000s. How can we do it? And they came up with the idea to do a TV show, but a series for having NASCAR drivers teach celebrities to drive race cars and put it on national television. So literally Dancing with the Stars, but just with NASCARs. And ABC was had just signed a deal with NASCAR. So they said, "Let's do it on ABC." And so they got the deal, and they said, "You know what, we're going to do Gillette, Fusion Razor in the broadcast, in the 7-episode broadcast. But we have all this other time. We need to hire you, Leverage, to help us monetize this time. And maybe if you can make $2 million for us, that would be great, and pay for the production, and you get your percentage, and it would be a great deal." And we ended up bringing in $6.9 million in 6 months into the show. So literally, more than tripled what they were looking for. And, I led the sales there. And that, I bring that up because that catapulted Leverage Agency into a national agency, and to start to be talked about with some of the other, competitors in the business, the big guys, the IMGs and the CAA Sports, which was starting, and then even, other folks in the industry like Premier Partnerships and other sales agencies like that. So that put us on the map. And then we started, recruiting, bringing in properties like the Jimmy Kimmel Live Show to do branded integration. That was getting big at the time, and is still relatively big. Celebrity Apprentice, integrating brands into the Celebrity Apprentice show with Mark Burnett. And so it became not just sports, but entertainment. And then I had an opportunity where I literally had an old client come to me, an old client from Major League Soccer when I was at ESPN. He had gone to Major League Gaming, and he said, "I have a big opportunity for you in gaming, Kevin, and I think this could really be very good for you." And I took a look at it, and I saw what was going on in esports. It was kind of the beginning of doing these mass esports events, but then streaming them online. So it was Halo, and then StarCraft was big at the time. And it was the very beginning of it. And I really hadn't sold digital at all. And I said, "You know what, this is a real good opportunity to kind of catapult my career into digital and do that." And I did that for 1.5 years and led the sales team, and, brought in Red Baron Pizza. And we did a whole host of different deals. Turtle Beach headset became the official headset of Major League Gaming. So that was a great opportunity to leave Leverage for. And then what was happening was MLG got so hot that they started to really talk to people about selling. And CBS Interactive came to them and said, "You know what, we want to do an offer sheet, but we're going to do the sales. So we don't need sales. And so they came to us, the 4 sales guys, and said, you know what, you guys should start looking for something else, because we're doing a term sheet with CBS Interactive. They're going to sell it. We're looking to cut costs so we can sell for the maximum amount. So you guys should start looking. And I had a great relationship with Ben and Leverage Agency. And so I after a year and a half with MLG, I was able to go back to Leverage
Nice.
for specific opportunities to help package Leverage to sell and do those kind of things. MLG ended up selling to Activision for 50 million plus. So they capitalized on what they did. And so I went back to Leverage, and what I did at Leverage was not just sell and sales manage, did more of that. We hired up to 12 salespeople at Leverage during my second stint there. But then we started to create our own events, Harvard Yale hockey at the Garden, and international cricket series across 3 stadiums in the U.S., bringing international cricket players to the U.S. and televising on broadcast in the U.S. And so doing more Leverage-owned events, so we can own the upside and not just get the 20% or 15% or 10% on the commission, but we can get hey, we make a profit. We can get the 40%,
Right. Yeah.
right? So it was doing more of that, and expanding and growing the company and really positioning it to get an investment in the company. And my second stint was probably about the same length as my first stint, and we were able to get a minority investment in the company, during my second stint, and sell it. So that was great. And then I had an opportunity to, at that point, once the company was being sold, I said, you know what, this is a good time for me to make my exit a second time. And I had actually moved up to Boston for personal reasons, and I got recruited for an opportunity in international soccer with a company called Amayse. So this is a company that, if you've ever watched any European soccer, they do most of the 3D signage that you see in European soccer. What is 3D signage? It's the signage that's not the LED signage around the pitch, but it's in front of the LED signage, but it's off the field. So it's next to the goal. It's flat on the ground. Players run across it. The ball rolls across it. But on television, it pops up and it's 3D for the broadcast. So you have State Farm and Gatorade, and it's right next to the goal. And so I brought that to the U.S. It had never really been activated. It has always been activated from Europe, but they had never had anybody here in the U.S. So they hired me to activate it across soccer, but then also get it into other sports, do 3D signage on the field in college football. So I did a deal with Gildan, and we did the Gildan Bowl, and we did 3D signage on the 25-yard lines, and we painted it on the field. And then we did, 3D carpets in the International Champions Cup, relevant sports, for 3 years running, doing all that 3D signage. And then expanding it into South America, getting into the Chilean Soccer League and other leagues like that. And then most recently I was, what I lost my job during COVID was the head of sponsorship sales for Major League Rugby's new New England franchise. So the New England Free Jacks franchise that started in 2018, started to play in 2020. They hired me in February of 2020 to be the head of sponsorship to really, they had a bunch of small deals. They had some folks selling some things, the CEO on down to, a couple of part-time people. And they said, you know what, we need a full-time person to come in here, put together a CRM, put together an activation plan, professionalize this, get out into the marketplace for their jersey sponsorship. They hadn't sold the jersey sponsorship, which was the top value piece as part of the team. So package that, recommend how much it should be priced at, and get some valuation from Nielsen, and do all of those kind of things. And I've been doing that my first 2 months, and then COVID hit, and the rest is history. And, I've been doing a bunch of volunteering and also taking care of my 3-year-old while he was out for 3.5 months. And, his mom is a lawyer and has been able to thankfully keep her job and working from home. And so taking care of the little guy, and he went back to school 3 weeks ago. And so now I'm 100% back on my hunt.
And that age is definitely a full-time job almost. With
Oh yeah, it's just like he's moving, right? But he's also extremely verbal. And this is our choice, but he does not watch video except for Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay.
So from Sunday to Friday morning, he's not watching video. He does not watch an iPad or television or anything. So what do? Well, we play with them, we read to them, and it's several hours of books a day. And think about it, during COVID, you have to entertain a little child that does not sleep, take naps, and does not watch television. Good luck. But we were able to survive. I survived, he survived, and now he's back in school. But he's
good.
Yeah.
So during your career, what kind of size deals have you worked on as far as with different brands?
Yep. I would say everything from 5-figure deals, working with like Bike New York in New York City, which is the 5-borough bike tour. It's been going on for 30 years. That's $10, $20, $50,000 deals up to 6-figure deals. But that's an example of being a sponsorship agency for a local 5-borough bike tour and bringing in activation sponsors for 10 grand, 20 grand, up to, like I said, 6-figure deals, and then up to 8-figure deals, working with title sponsorships for the EVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour before it kind of took a downturn with the Olympics in 08. It was hot. It got hot in kind of 2000, 2004, 2008. It was hot. And Beijing Olympics, we had it as the sponsorship agency. So bringing in the title sponsor, which is 8-figure deal, 3 to 5 year deals, NASCAR 7-figure deals for, on an annual basis. So really I would take it on, like if I was at my agency, I would take on an opportunity where I'm selling 5-figure sponsorships. If I see growth, if I see the opportunity to, like the 5-borough bike tour was great because it was a ton of, 5 and 6-figure sponsors. So if I can get a ton of sponsors like that, I can have my junior guys working on it and junior women working on it and selling and gaining great experience and selling $10, $20, $50,000 deals. But then eventually maybe I can have an opportunity to replace TD as the title sponsor and I can sell a 6-figure deal and 3 to 5 year deal. So if I see growth, I would sell 5-figure sponsorships all day because I have junior folks, and then I can also see the growth from our perspective.
Yeah, no, that's great. What would you say is like your biggest strength that you'll bring to a new position?
I would say I've thought about this obviously a lot during this time. I think I've got a great mix of sales management and being able to mentor salespeople from beginning, 20 something into 30, veterans who've been in the business 20 years. So really mentor, take people into the field, take them out on meetings, talk about, what works, what doesn't, just imparting knowledge. And even that's what I've done, even during not having a full-time gig, is help people that are looking for jobs, also. What's, my network, being able to mentor them and say, hey, here's a list of recruiting agencies that I have. Talk to these, 8 folks, 5 of them are in New York. You should make sure you have your resume there. So mentoring people from a sales management and even just a sales career perspective. And then also selling myself and being, the top salesperson. I think that's the best way to sales manage, is to be the top salesperson and bring in the biggest deals. It's great taking people, because I've been on meetings where I haven't closed the deal, but they've been tremendous learning experiences. Like, I can't believe we just closed that deal, like in that meeting, like being there, but then also being in that meeting and being the lead salesperson and closing that deal, or getting close to closing that deal, and then maybe closing it on the phone the next day, and having, 2 junior folks there, seeing that, witnessing that, it's invaluable. And then also just, how to connect, how to generate leads, how to connect, how to build relationships, how to take people out and just connect with them on a personal level, and care and be interested in people, and know that it's a long career, it's a long tail, and building relationships in the beginning, it comes back to you, and you never know where people are going to be, right? You may know somebody at XYZ brand, but you don't have a property that makes sense for them. Well, don't worry about it. Connect with them. How can you help them? What are they doing? And then all of a sudden they're going to, a top Fortune 100 brand, and they want to have a call because their boss is looking for new sponsorships. You never know where those relationships can impact your career. So I would say that mix of sales management and just being the top salesperson and selling. I think that's my unique sauce.
What do you think you need to work on the most?
Oh, just learning the new aspects of the business, Zoom calls, social media, Instagram story. There's something new every day. TikTok, what's working on TikTok? I did delete TikTok recently because I don't know what's going on there, right? Are they looking at my phone? Are they watching where I'm going? Are they,
I got millions of ways to watch us now.
I deleted it, but I only had it on for research purposes, right? That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll probably add it back, but.
Do you have some good TikToks on there yourself? You put some good videos
No, I
up?
have no TikToks, but
Come
I want
on,
to
man.
what are the kids doing? What are they doing these days, right? Like, what are like my great nieces and nephews doing? They're on TikTok. It's like my girlfriend's friend's daughter is 6 years old and she's on TikTok. I'm like, let me see those videos. What is she doing? And she's making videos at my son's birthday party in our hallway. She's making TikTok videos. And I'm like, she's 6 years old. Is she supposed to be doing that? And then I find myself watching them, and it's awesome. But it's just knowing what brands are doing. So I can give a point of view also, right? And give recommendations, and I've got to know what athletes are doing, right? And just, with them being content first, and, being in control of the narrative now these days. All of the athlete content that's available out there, it's incredible and it's awesome. And it's the way that it should be going, because it's the way that it is going. So I would say just I got to stay up on, and I do stay up on, but I may be, half a second behind some of the 20-somethings.
Yeah. What is kind of the ideal role that you're looking for now?
It's a good question. So I'm based here in Boston suburbs in a town called Somerville, right outside of Boston. I'm about half a mile from Harvard. I'll be based here for the next 10 plus years. So I'm not relocating. So it would either be a base, something based in New England, sponsorship, sales. I love the idea. It was the first time I worked for a team with the New England Free Jacks. I love the idea of working for a team based here, and that energy, that fervor, that fan base, that local excitement. But then I have national experience, and that's where a lot of my experience is in national. So a remote sales opportunities, where somebody's based in Chicago or LA or even overseas, but I'm based here and I can work remotely. I can get to New York in a train or a plane or a car ride away, or Chicago, and it's easy. So I would say a remote sponsorship, advertising, sales opportunity, or something based here in the New England area.
How would you define success?
I mean, I think if you are really excited to go to work every day, you really feel like you're making a difference. And it can be in your full time, it can be in your part time, it can be in your, activation. I'm out protesting. This area is very active in terms of Black Lives Matters and all of that. I've been out protesting and supporting and doing things like that. So I think what's in your heart and doing what's in your heart and supporting the causes that are important to you. If you're doing that and you are loving to go to work every day, and whether that cause related is in your everyday work or it's just part of what you're doing on the side, it's loving what you're doing and making a difference.
Last question. I always like to end with this one. Give us a fun fact about you personally.
I have a little Shih Tzu Havanese dog, 14 years old, and her name is Chutzpah. And I got her from an Israeli friend of mine in New York. Of course, it had to be New York. When she was 1 year old, and she's 14, and she's still kicking, and everybody gets a kick out of me. You know, not that I'm a huge guy, but I'm a guy walking this little fluffy Shih Tzu Havanese, you know, cutest thing in the world, walking her down the street and, you know, taking care of her. So I would say that's a fun fact. And I love animals. I'm just an animal person. I've had cats and dogs. We have a cat named Kitten. I've had cats. I've had birds. I'm an animal lover. I give elephant sanctuary. When I went to Thailand, we went to an elephant sanctuary. We didn't go to a resort. We went to a sanctuary and fed the elephants and took them down to the river and washed them. And I just think, you know, taking care of elephants is the closest thing to, you know, to making a difference in terms of being spiritual. So I'm an elephant lover at the heart.
Well, those are good facts. You got a great background, so I'm sure that something's going to pop up. I mean, everyone needs, you know, revenue producers and sales leaders. So I'm excited to, you know, I want to talk more because I think I could learn some stuff from you. So I appreciate your time. Yeah.
I'm available. Andrew, it's great to meet you. I love your background, amazing story and what you're doing. And thank you for this. It's very kind of you to do this, you know, from your heart, and you're making a difference. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I've known some of the Free Agent Fridays interviews you've done. I've known some of the people. I haven't known others. It's been awesome just to see them. And I thank you for the opportunity, and you know, let's make a difference for everybody. So it's awesome what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, man.